I'm going to be totally honest to start with. This is the highest of high-risk presentations, right? We're going to do some live coding. We're definitely going to use Bluetooth. It requires Wi-Fi, so there's a very good chance that something's going to go wrong. At which point, we don't go, oh, Martin. What we do is we go, whoa! Something's gone wrong, because that makes me feel better. All right, so my name's Martin O'Hanlon. I work for the Pi Foundation, and my job is I work in the learning team. And I create content and projects and kind of nice, fun things like that. I have a cool job, in my perspective. A lot of people wouldn't think so, but I think I have a great job. But one of the things we do is we run Pi Academy, which is our teacher training course. And at Pi Academy, we do a lot of this, which is making stuff. Making stuff that goes around, that moves about, that kind of lights up, and blah, 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 blah. Right. Now, inevitably, when we make stuff, this happens. Right? Without fail. Because it turns out that making something without wires is really hard, right? Powering it is pretty easy. You get yourself a USB battery pack, you stick it in, and then like, how do you control this thing? It is hard, particularly if you're in like public places like this where you've got Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi won't let you connect and then you can't run a VNC, so it's just a nightmare. So I had this idea, and my idea was a simple one, which was, I wanted to create a wireless button, yeah? That was my aim. My aim was literally a button that you would press and you could make something else happen, yeah? That was my aim. And it had to be two things. It had to be super easy to use and super easy to install. Those are the only two things I set myself. Super easy to use, super easy to install. So I came up with this thing called Blue Dot. Now, what Blue Dot is, it is a remote, yeah, either a Python remote, which is the kind of one you can see on the left-hand side, or an Android remote and a Python library. And it allows you to do this. It allows you to say, wait for it to be pressed, yeah? And when you press it, make something happen, yeah? Two really simple things, yeah? And in 4 lines of code, that was my kind of aim, you can get something to happen. So this is what Blue Dot became. And I want to do a quick demo. I told you it's going to be high risk. This is the first high risk thing. I've got to switch desktops. This is going to work. Yes. Right, okay. So right in the middle, we've got a Pi with a sense hat on it. Now, what I want to do is, as this kind of piece of code says, I'm going to wait for my Blue Dot to be pressed. When it's pressed, you know, sensehat.clear actually means, well, that bit means make it blue. And then when it's released, I'm going to turn it off. Yep. Hopefully. Now, I told you it was high risk because the camera app I had opened a second ago has suddenly disappeared. Oh, here we go. Right. So this is Blue Dot in the camera running on my mobile phone. And you perhaps can see there's one that says SenseHat Pi sort of just here. So I'm going to run my program here. So it's waiting for a connection. How exciting. Yes. So hopefully when I press connect to SenseHat Pi, connecting, it's all the way over there. Can't be that hard. Come on. Get ready for the whoop of failure. Whoop of failure? You can do better than that. Let's try again. Oh, come on. It's there. Why was this so... Yay! Right, okay, right. So it's connected. Who knows why I didn't work the first time? It's probably because I'm stood on a stage. Right, so in theory, when I press the Blue Dot, the sense hat should come on. And when I let go of it, it should go off. Whoop of failure, remember? Damn it. I'm genuinely disappointed about that. And I'm not even sure what to do. Let's try again. Let's run that again. So sense hat's running. Connect. Come on. Brilliant. Right, let's try again. Nothing. What's that about? Whoop of failure? Right, okay. But this is what Blue Dot is all about. We wait for something to happen, yeah? We do something and then we wait for it to be released, yeah? But actually that's not a great way of doing so. So we start to move on to, actually, if anybody's used here has used GUI 0, Yeah, when you kind of create a button, then you wait for something to be pressed, and then you do something. And that's what we do with Blue Dot, is we basically say, I'm going to turn something on, and I'm going to turn something off. Right? And when it's pressed, I'm going to turn it on, and when it's released, I'm going to turn it off. Right, I am going to try one more time. I've got a horrible feeling that the battery pack I stole about 15 minutes ago, because mine died, hasn't got enough juice to run the sensor. But we'll have another go. No. Right.
Do you want to play pass?
No, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So, I came up with this idea. And that was the idea. It was to be a button. So you could press it and something would happen. But these were the slides I shouldn't need. The great thing about a big blue dot is, if you make it big enough, yeah, you don't just have to press it in the middle. Yeah, you can press it at the top, the left, the right, or the bottom. Yeah. And actually, if we do this to our big blue button, suddenly what we find ourselves with is a D-pad, a controller. Something where you press the top, and when you press the bottom, and you press the left, and you press the right, things happen. Yeah? So, the great thing about a big blue dot as well is, you don't have to worry about things like being such imprecision as, you know, top, left, bottom, right? You can also think about, well, what about if I have an X and a Y and a distance and an angle, yeah? And I can get all those sorts of things. Suddenly I have quite a sophisticated controller. So, and I think this is a kind of a really important thing that often technologists don't think about, which is, if we almost always, we look for complexity. We go, right, how do I make this thing as complicated as possible? Yeah. Because that's what we think we like. We like things with lots of functionality. And actually, if we start with something simple and expand on it and use that as a constraint, we can be imaginative with it. So I had a lovely demo, which isn't going to work because it was on the sensor, where you press the button and as you rotate it, the colors change. So we can kind of see here, when you press it, it runs this thing called on. It works out a color based on where you put your finger on that sensor, on that blue dot. Works out a color and then displays that. So in practice, it looks really cool. And I'm sure, so you press the button, you go round like that, and it goes all the way around the color wheel. So suddenly we find ourselves with a much more sophisticated piece of hardware. So, I kind of released this thing, and I thought, oh, if somebody uses it, it's cool. I think it's quite useful just for PyCademy, just because I've now got a wireless button I can help people, you know, make things with, so when they press them, something happens. So I received this picture on Twitter. And this is what made me smile. This guy is actually from a PyCademy event in the USA. And what this guy had done is he'd taken Blue Dot and he'd made a robot. Right? So that's what we're going to try and do today. Okay? Hence the robot sitting down there. This is mine. I made it myself, as you can tell. I've covered it in stickers so it looks less like an ice cream tub. But that's what it is. All right. Where are we up to? Right, so let's have a go. So are we feeling more confident about Robbie the robot? Right. Do you know what? We've got plenty of time to do this because none of my other demos worked. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, right, hi Robbie. We're going to say, right, I'm going to define a function that says move, right? And basically, every time I want my robot to move, I'm going to call this, and it's going to say Robbie, or robot.forward. Okay. And then what I'm also going to say is I'm going to say stop. And then I say robot, okay, well, when you do that, you're going to stop. All right. And then I'm going to say, right, okay, well, blue dot, when you're pressed, yeah, you're going to run move. Say blue dot, when you're released, you're going to say stop. It's not the most sophisticated bit of programming, but anybody care to guess what might happen? What's going to happen when I press the button? It might move, let's face it. You know, based on my current success rate, it might move. Yeah? And hopefully when I take my finger off it, it should stop. Right then. Anybody feeling confident? Because I'm not. Right, here we go. All right. So, excellent. Okay, so blue dot's now running. It's waiting for a connection. It's a terrible picture, but this one down here says Robbie. So we're going to connect to Robbie the robot, hopefully, with a bit of luck. Maybe. Who knows? Let's try again.
Do you need to wait for connection?
No. Is everybody using blue dot in this place? Everybody's like using their Bluetooth connection. We're going to try one more time. Yes, right. What do you think? Yes! I mean, the sense hat is rubbish, but my ice cream tub robot is a work of genius, clearly. All right. So, remember we said we could kind of look at like top, left, bottom, right, stuff like that, yeah? So what we're going to try and do now is we're going to try and program this fella so that when I press the top, he goes forward. When I press left, he goes left. When I press right, he goes right. And when I press backwards, he goes backwards, yeah? Okay, so, do you want me to type this out? Yeah, why not? Why not? We've got a couple of minutes. All right. So what we're going to say is we're going to say, so first thing that happens is that when we call move, yeah, we get this thing, we get a position. And that position is where we press the blue dot. Yeah, that's where we get X and Y and angle and stuff like that. So we can also say if pos dot top, yeah, we're going to go forward. Yeah, if pos dot bottom, we're going to go backward. And then we're going to say if pos dot right. Anybody care to guess what's going to happen there? Yeah, I'm on that. I saw that. See, there we go. Right. I'm pretty sure you can fill in the rest of yourself, yeah? Right, okay, right. Ooh, right. Left. Super. Right. So, hopefully, when we press the top, it go forward. When we press left, it go left. Kind of get the idea. Let's run this fella. See what happens. Okay. Come on, Robbie. Be good to me. Yes. Right. Was anybody checking my code? No. Okay, right. So, forward, yeah? Forward. Okay, so hopefully left. That left? That's definitely left, isn't it? Right. And then we go backwards as well. Yes. All right. But the fun doesn't stop there, guys. Yay. So, again, one of the things I wanted to do is I just wanted to create this wireless button, but it came very quick, very kind of aware that actually you could do more than this. So at the moment, when we press the top, this fellow just sets off. Wouldn't it be great is that the further you push it towards the top, the faster he goes? Nice. Yeah? Okay, right. So one of the things that we get back from this in here is not only we get a top, bottom, left, right, we also get a distance. Now the distance is how far away from the middle that you push your finger. Yeah? So if you're using GUI 0 and you're using the robot thing, one of the things you can pass to forward, backward, left, right is a number between 0 and 1, which is how fast it goes. So that's handy, isn't it? It's like I'd thought about it. I hadn't, but it's just a nice coincidence. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick that in there. What we're also going to do is at the moment we're only kind of worried about when we press it and when we release it, yeah? What we're also going to do is say when we move our finger, when we kind of glide our finger across this thing, yeah? So what we're also going to say is we're going to say blue dot when moved, we're going to call that move function again. All right? So every time my finger moves, it should call that function, and it should work out where my finger is, and it should do it the right way. All right. Oh, the moment of tension. You ready? So if I put it right in the middle, it shouldn't move at all. But as I go forward, it doesn't move at all. Oh, I see. See? So as I kind of push my finger forward, it gets faster, and then it gets slower until hopefully it stops. Whoa! Is it still going? Hey! Right, let's go backwards. Yeah. It's got a bit of a veer on it, hasn't it? I blame the floor. Yeah. But again, as you slow down. As you let go, it'll stop. And what I really like about this, in fact, I'm going to go back to the story. I think we've done enough stressful demos for the day. Write some code, does stuff, yeah? What I really like about this is that I suddenly found myself thinking, well, actually, how much more can I do with this like big round blue button? Has anybody got an iPod, like an iPod Classic? I know I'm not going back a few years. Do you remember the click wheel that they had? Yeah, where you go, you can do that with it as well. So you can rotate it left and rotate it right. Yeah. And that was actually a really good thing, because I started building menus with this thing. So you can rotate left and rotate right, and then we double click to change menu and do that. And you can also do things like swipe it. So you can swipe it left and swipe it right, swipe it up and swipe it down. And you can, again, do more things in terms of those simple actions with this one big blue button. So there are a couple of thoughts I just kind of want to leave people with, which is actually creating this project started off for me as really simple, which was I want to press something and something happens. Very quickly what I found myself thinking was, oh, I could do so much more with this little thing. Because I constrained myself, I said, right, I'm going to constrain myself. I'm just going to big blue circles, like simplest interface. I constrained myself and said, right, I'm going to have this simple interface. And because of that, the lesson I learned was how to be much more creative with what I had. So not suddenly start finding myself going, well, what I need now is to create like 15 different buttons all on the same thing, at which point I'd have kind of lost that simplicity. Yeah? But I grew something that was more complicated than what it just appeared to be. And that was a really important lesson for me. Not one that I'd really kind of thought about before. I was a professional developer for 20 years. Building complexity was kind of my life. People paid me to do it, and I loved it. Yeah? But actually, by constraining ourselves and actually thinking and being creative with what we have, we can do so much more. So, if you ever find yourselves not on a stage and you need to control something wirelessly, I would encourage you to have a look at Blue Dot. Yeah? And I encourage you to constrain yourselves and actually think, how do I use something very simple in a much more creative way? Website, lots of install instructions that says one line, run this command, and it will install. There's lots of recipes on there in terms of things you can do, like using a sense app that doesn't work, and creating a robot and making LEDs light up and all sorts of other things. Yeah? So that's me done. I think I've got 2 minutes. Get it right. If anybody wants to ask any questions. Hello.
Hi. Could you go back to the other screen and just explain what the components were, what you were running the Python on?
Oh, right, this.
So quickly, I didn't know
Okay, right. Which one are we on? Robbie over here. He's running VNC. I'm connecting to Robbie. So this is a VNC, yeah, actually on the device, yeah. So I'm VNCing to the device. The text editor is an editor called Mu. Yeah, it's a lovely editor. I would encourage everybody to have a go with it, particularly if you're kind of new to programming. Really simple. Stop, run, new program, auto saves and stuff like that. It's lovely. Yeah.
So then, is that Bluetooth connected to the phone?
Oh, well, yeah. So yeah. So high risk, obviously, because I'm using Wi-Fi to VNC to it, and Bluetooth to communicate to through my phone to the device.
Not to the laptop?
No. Yeah. So the laptop is. I could shut it down and it would still work. Yeah. Hello.
That was really great, thanks. Is Blue Dot just about sending commands to Pi, or can the Pi send stuff back to Blue Dot?
So it's one way. I intentionally did that because, again, thinking of that constraint in terms of how you make something simple, how you make it reliable. However, I've had so many people say, wouldn't it be great if you could send stuff back? And one of the things I quite like is changing the color. You know, so you could do like, you know, make it green or make it pink or something like that, just to express different modes. So yeah, maybe I might be convinced to do that. Anything else? Are we out of time? I got that. Thank you.